And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at a game called Dog Lover. Not really thrilled about the name, but this is a game from David Short, although this game is very specifically, it says in the rule book, that it is inspired by the game Cat Lady, which was designed by Josh Wood. I'm going to argue that this game is more than inspired by Cat Lady. It is like Cat Lady 1.5. It's a fun game. I'll just spoil that right away. I like this game. But to say that it's inspired by feels like Cat Lady with an expansion included in it. But anyway, hey, it's dogs, not cats. And as everyone on Earth knows, dogs are better than cats. Anyway, this is a real quick card game about collecting cards and scoring points at the end. Let's see how you play. At the beginning of the game, each player is going to get a random dog. Dogs come in three types: small, medium, and the best dog of all, large. Even better, it's a German Shepherd. Not black German Shepherd, but pretty good. But anyway, each dog's going to be worth a certain amount of victory points at the end of the game, as long as they're fed. They're going to want dry bits, scraps, or canned food, a certain amount of them. If you don't, you're going to lose 2 points for the dog. Otherwise, you'll get the points mentioned here. So players are going to start with those. Players are also going to start with a standard trick, which can be sit, although once you know the game, you can pick a more unique one that's here, like the handshake. On a player's turn, if they have the fetch card, which the last player starts with, but you can also play the fetch card at any point in your turn to take any one card from the grid. You replace it with the fetch card. But normally what players will do is they're going to play a trick card. So usually you start with a standard trick, but you can get more over the course of the game. This lets me take 3 cards in the same row or column. Now, the only rule is there's a guard dog here protecting a row or column, and you may only take 1 card from that row. So I can take these 3 cards, these 3 cards, these 3, these 3, these 3, but I can't take these 3. Let's say, for example, I take the bottom 3 cards, I'll replace those, and then I move the guard dog to protect that row or column. Now, as the game goes by, you might get cooler tricks like this point here, which will let you take an L shape, but again, I couldn't take the L shape here because it would take 2 cards from the guard dog's column. And when you're done, you put the guard dog where the asterisk is on the card. So you're going to be collecting these cards, and this will just continue to go until you get to this game is ending card. This is in the bottom of the deck based on the number of players, and when this happens, the game's over and you score up all the cards. Some cards, when you take them, simply give you the appropriate food. Dry bits, scraps, canned, or wild. You take that particular food and then you discard the cards. There are some cards that give you 2 of those foods. Other cards give you dogs. And you just simply take that dog and put it in front of you, where you'll score points or lose points for it at the end of the game. Adoption papers don't do anything, but if you get 2 of them, you can draw from face-up rescue dogs that are next to the board. So here we have Laddie, George, Miss Penelope, you have Mario, Andre, Eddie, Julius Caesar, 50 Cent, and you can take one of these dogs. These dogs are the same way. You need to feed them to get these points at the end of the game, but they also have bonus victory points on them. Or sometimes they simply have a question mark here. And Laddie, if you have teacher's pet or best friend, you get 9 victory points. If you have both those traits, you get 12 victory points at the end of the game. So you can get as many dogs as you want, but realize you need to be able to give them the food to get the positive victory points. You can also collect a bone. A bone is worth -1 victory point, but if you get 2, all your dogs are +1, and if you get 3, all your dogs are +2. You can also collect walk cards. When you get a walk card, you must immediately tuck it under a dog. If you do so, that's 2 points. If you don't have a dog to tuck it under, then you simply have to get rid of it. You can do the same thing with training. Training's worth 1 point, or you can discard a certain number of training cards to draw from the face-up trick cards. And I mentioned these already, but these are other ways to collect cards from the grid. And they cost a certain number of trick cards. This one costs 1, this one, the bow, costs 2, but you're going to get 4 cards every time you use it. And when you have these tricks, you can pick which one you'd like to use. When you get a trait card, you attach it to the appropriate dog. Like Landlord goes with a small dog, while Best Friend also goes with a small dog. Rule Breaker goes with a medium dog. And these give you extra points, and they also have a special thing. Like this dog, if I attach this to Dexter, Dexter can tuck unlimited cards for 2 victory points for each type of card that they tuck underneath. And then finally, there are favorite things. Each favorite thing that you collect, different one that you get, is going to get you points at the end of the game. So if you get all of them, you're going to get 15 victory points. And that's it. When this card is drawn, you finish the current round, so everyone gets the same number of turns. And then you score all the cards in front of you, and whoever has the most points is the winner. My only complaint about the components is the food types are, I don't know. I know that cubes make more economical sense, but it would be neat to have little cans or something, maybe some different shapes for the cubes, but it's not a big deal. The art, I wasn't a huge fan of the art in Cat Lady, but for some reason, and maybe it's because I like dogs better than cats, but I really like the art in this game, and everything is very easy. The only complaint I might have about this is that all the different traits, there is a lot of text going on these traits. Not a huge deal, but it's just something to keep in mind. But the rules were pretty simple. There's a lot of cool components. I like the guard dog piece here. It's not a lot of stuff in this game, but it works well. Now again, I like the game, but let's point out, as I said at the beginning, this is very similar to Cat Lady. Do you need to own both? Well, if you love Cat Lady, then yes, they're very similar. What are the differences? In this game, dogs have traits that can be attached to them. You have those tricks. That's the main thing. In the original Cat Lady game, you could only take a row or column. Here, the tricks allow you to take more cards. Honestly, even though I like dogs better, I think Cat Lady is better for the simplicity. While the dog tricks are really cool, they do tend to slow the game down slightly as I sit there and try to rotate and figure out the best trick to take cards. The fetch card is also something nice. It's a good way for the last player to have I can take any card in the game, and then it makes it an interesting card to take. But honestly, again, I don't know that you need to get both. Pick the one, maybe you want the simpler one, which is Cat Lady, or specifically if you like dogs or cats better, then pick the appropriate one. That being said, if you never heard of Cat Lady, let's talk about just this game. It's a really fast game. You go through that deck really fast because you're just grabbing a bunch of cards. And so at the beginning, you're like, I need food because I want to feed these dogs, because you have that. Most people I've always played with, it's like, I don't want to lose points for not feeding my dogs. I want to get the points for them. Great. But then you start thinking about other things. What do I want to do? Do I want to start collecting my favorite things? Do I want to try to get a better trick to give me more cards each turn? Do I want to get these traits or adopt the dog because I already have the trait that dog needs, or hope I get it, which is a little bit of a push your luck aspect. This is a very light game. It's hard to have any long-term strategy in it because, especially when you play with more than 2, I mean, the game can play, I think, up to 4 players, and maybe it plays up to 5. But either way, you take certain cards out of the deck based on the number of players. But when you're playing the game, the grid changes so much that you might as well just look at the ceiling until it's your turn, because the card you want is going to be there, but it's likely going to be gone. At minimum, 3 out of the 9 cards are taken every round, and maybe more. So by the time it comes back around to you, it's going to be a different thing. So you just kind of sit there and say, what's the best for me to choose? And the person after you is going, please don't take that card, please don't take that card. But there's almost a 50% chance that you will. That being said, it's fun. You're done. They named the dogs in a fun way. The art looks good. The whole thing comes together in a really entertaining and quick way. This is what we call a filler game, games you play in between other things. If you know someone who is a dog lover, this seems like a pretty natural gift to get that person. So check it out. That's Dog Lover from AG. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching the Dice Tower. Dice Tower Judgment approved.